Now we have to see the case of multi-product firm without advertising. So this is the third model presented by Baumol. So here the firm is having a given amount of resources and has certain amount of cost, for example C. Now the firm wants to allocate them with the various commodities which it wishes to produce so as to maximize the sales revenue. But the difference is that it will reach the same equilibrium solution as that of the profit maximizer. That is, the firm which try to increase the sales revenue through multi-products will produce the same quantities of various products as if it were a profit maximizer. So in this case, we cannot find a difference between the sales maximizer and the profit maximizer in the case of multi-product firm without advertising. So for that we are using the equation dou R by dou Xi divided by dou R by dou Xj is equal to dou C by dou Xi by dou C by dou Xj. So the meaning is that the firm is in equilibrium when the ratio of marginal revenue from any two commodities, so here the commodities are I and J, is equal to the ratio of the marginal cost. When the revenue is equal to the cost, the firm is said to be at equilibrium. So the same thing can be elaborated with the help of a diagram in which we use the ISO revenue curve and the product transformation curve. Usually it is similar to production possibility frontier. Now it is used as a product transformation curve, and the slope shows the marginal rate of product transformation, and that is dou C by dou X by dou C by dou Y. So the product transformation curve is concave to the origin, that is it shows the difficulty in reducing the product Y for reallocating the resources to increase the production of product X. So X axis shows the commodity X and the Y axis shows the commodity Y. And we have the ISO revenue curves R1, R2, R3 and R4. They meet at point E, that is with the TT production transformation curve. So this is the point of equilibrium. The ISO revenue curve is drawn convex to the origin, that is falling demand curve for the two products and hence a declining marginal revenue for additional units sold. So the firm's equilibrium point without doubt is point E, where the given product transformation curve is tangent to the highest ISO revenue curve. So at this point the firm maximizes its sales revenue by selling OX of commodity X and OY of commodity Y. So the solution is similar to the equilibrium of a profit maximizer. So there is no startling point about this, since in both models we assume that given resources and also the cost which is known to the firm, model 4 is of multi-product model with advertising. So here we have to use a mathematical model, so that is using calculus so as to achieve maximum generality. The firm aim at sales revenue maximization subject to minimum profit constraint. So coming to the last part of the discussion, that is Baumol's dynamic model. The single static period model that we have developed so far is only an introduction to the more ambitious multi-period analysis attempted by Baumol. So the most serious weakness of static model is the short time horizon of the firm and treatment of profit constraint as exogenously determined magnitude. In dynamic model, what we do is the time horizon is extended and the profit constraint is endogenously determined by the firm and not by any external factors. As in the case of static model, we have certain assumptions. So what are the assumptions? The firm attempts to maximize the rate of sales over its lifetime. So here the time span is given, so everything is related with over the lifetime. Profit is the main means of financing growth of sales, no doubt. Demand curves, traditional shape, U-shape, downward falling curves are used. Profit is not considered as a constraint. So these are the few assumptions. So there is sales revenue will be maximized over the lifetime. U-shaped traditional curves are used. Profit is the main means of financing growth of sales, and growth may be financed by internal or external sources. And profit is not externally determined but endogenously determined. Now let us see the multi-period model. What is happening in the multi-period model? So, we assume that sales revenue, that is denoted by the letter R, capital letter R, grows at a rate of growth small letter g percent. So, the rate of growth of sales revenue R is at the rate g. Over the lifetime, the firm will get certain level of revenue, and that can be written as R plus 1g, R plus 1g square, and up to the n number of years which it is working. So now we have to find out the present value of the stream of the revenues. For that we are using the usual, the very familiar discount formula, that is R1 plus G by 1 plus I, again R1 plus G by 1 plus I square, and R1 plus G divided by 1 plus I raised to n. So that means from the first year to the n number of years which is working. So I is the subjective rate of discount of the firm. Every year the discount will be given. The latter is exogenously given by the expectations and risk performance of the firm and higher than any form of market interest rate because it includes subjective assessment of risk. So there exists some sort of a risk. So the firm's duty is to maximize the present value of the sales so that it can get maximum sales revenue over its lifetime. So for that it choose appropriate values of current or initial levels of sales revenue and also the growth rate. So the sales revenue, that is R, has a relationship between the total value of all future revenues, that is S. So the present value stream of revenues will be higher for the higher sales revenue and growth value, that is G value and R value. So the growth is always financed by internal profits and at sometimes by external money. Sales maximization makes sense as it is the goal of the firm in a multi-period analysis. That is why everybody is trying to maximize the sales so that it can be reinvested. So if by maximizing the profit, what the firm can do? The firm could finance a higher rate of growth. So if the sacrifice is done, what happens? If it sacrifices the current profit in favor of an increased current sales, the answer to this question lies in the nature of relationship between profit and current sales and the rate of growth. So if profit is higher, or if profit is less but sales is higher, there is a reason for that. Now let us see the growth function. G is equal to F pi R. R is the current sales revenue, which is instrumental variable, and profit is pi. It is defined as F2 RG I and C. C denotes the cost, the growth rate, the rate of discount, everything is included. So the growth function is actually derived from the profit function and is shown using a diagram that we can see right now. It shows the growth function. And if the firm is expanding, it depends upon the current level of profits, because part of the profit which is retained, that is a primary source of every growth, it will be used to reinvest so that there will be further growth. And the highest attainable growth, that is G, will be the point of maximum profits beyond the level of sales revenue where profits are maximized. That is beyond R pi M. As per the diagram, the growth rate will decline as profits are declining. So that means up to the point A in the diagram, which corresponds to the maximum profit level, the current sales revenue R and its rate of growth G increases simultaneously. Beyond that point, however, current sales revenue continues to increase but the rate of growth declines. Beyond R pi M, sales revenue and growth become competing goals. The firm has to choose between higher current revenue growth growing at a lower growing rate over time and lower current sales growing faster over time. So there is an infinite combination of G and also R, that is the sales revenue, and the growth rate that the firm may choose. To find the equilibrium of the firm, we need an additional tool, that is ISO present value curve. This curve will show the combination of G and R that yield the same level S. So the definition of S we have already discussed, that is sigma R1 plus G divided by 1 plus I. That means that is the sum total of all possible revenues. So in order to find the firm's equilibrium, we may use the diagram. So the firm will choose the highest possible ISO present value curves. That is, the firm is in equilibrium at the point of tangency of the growth curve OA, capital letter A, to the highest S curve, that is point E as per, or point epsilon as per the diagram. The point of tangency defines the equilibrium values of G and also R, that is attainable rate of growth and the level of current sales, which maximizes the present value of the stream of future revenue. So from the diagram we can say where will be its rate of growth and what is its present sales, what is its present value of stream, and what will be its future revenues, and what the firm is going to do. The firm will choose the highest possible ISO present value curves and the point of equilibrium, and that will give us G star, R star, and attainable rate of growth and the level of current sales, which maximizes the present value of the future events or the future revenues. So all these things can be found out from the diagram. So we have seen OAA in the diagram, that is the curve which represents the attainable growth G for any given value of current sales R. So growth is financed out of the current profits, and the growth curve is therefore derived from the profit curve. Profit is shown by pi. Finally, the multi-product model can be modified to allow the exogenously determined minimum acceptable level of profit, and also it allows for advertising and other non-price competition activities and for multi-product activities. So there are certain predictions of multi-product model that are the same as that of single period model. So they are: output will be higher and price lower for sales maximizer than for profit maximizer if advertising is ignored. However, with advertising taking place, there may be conditions under which these predictions will be different. Advertising expenditures will be higher for sales maximizer due to the assumption of monotonic positive relation between sales revenue and advertising expenditure. An increase in overhead cost will lead to an reduction in output and an increase in price. Levying of lump sum tax will also have a similar result, that is an increase in price and a reduction in output. And coming to the welfare aspects of behavior of the sales maximizer, if the government imposes a lump sum tax with the aim of redistributing income away from the tax firm, the goal will not be attained since the sales maximizer will shift the burden to the customers. Specific tax will lead the sales maximizer to a larger reduction in output and a larger increase in price as compared to the profit maximizer. And when there is a shift in market demand, that is to the right, it will lead to an increase in output and an increase in advertising, while the effect on price is not certain in Baumols model. An increase in the variable cost will also lead to the sales maximizer to increase the price and a reduction in output. The changes will be greater than that of the profit maximizer.